Welcome to another Daily Notum video. If me producing these videos mean anything to you, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and if you know anyone that might find this information valuable, share it with them. That's something free you can do that really helps me support the time and effort I put into this and lets me know that it's actually something useful. So today what I want to do is talk about some myths that I've seen, really just information out there about a private jet, November 88 Golf Kilo, that would have left the Provo, Utah area sometime after the Charlie Kirk murder. And looking into this, the information's just not quite all put together. Some people think that the transponder was turned off based on some flightaware.com type apps, and that's simply not true. As a pilot myself, and knowing that first off, ADSB is not your transponder. And your transponder does not necessarily identify your aircraft. So if, for example, I'm flying VFR, I could put a squawk, they call it, where you put in the code 1200, and that just broadcasts that out there. It lets air traffic control know that I'm not a aircraft that they're watching in terms of an instrument filed approach that they need to follow and coordinate with. And so that it doesn't identify that airplane unless you file a flight plan and then start squawking a code in correspondence with that flight plan or that they request of you. So the ADSB is different. It actually sends out your tail number and info, your altitude, speed, all kinds of information like that. And that's required in Class B or Bravo airspace. And that's to help coordinate around a big airport. So that's usually where that is. Or that's above 10,000 feet because jet traffic, instrument controlled traffic is what flies above that. And so a jet, a lot of people say a jet would obviously fly above 10,000 feet. And that's true, except when they're flying someone. And I have examples like this on my channel where I've been out in the middle of nowhere. There's no airport a jet can land at, and a jet comes screaming over. And they do this to avoid the public eye. But for the easier thing that you can do to avoid the public eye is turn off your ADSB or request that it not be available for public view. And that's what's done here. If you look at the flight aware of the time, it says not available at request. And what that simply means is that the pilot or someone in the company of the aviation group there put that request in to conceal their flight information. And that's very normal for a VIP, especially someone of public interest. And I looked it up right now, and as of 9/11, in the evening of 9/11, it's 9/12 morning now, that jet flew to Palm Beach. So that does help in my mind, make me think that maybe Charlie Kirk's family was flown away from the area in case there was a further threat to their life or there was a follow-up attack planned or whatever. It would make a lot of sense to get them out. And they could go to any airport outside of a Class Bravo space and land and not need to turn that ADSB back on. However, they didn't even shut it off. It just says not available per request. And so that just means they simply asked to hide that information, and that's perfectly normal. In fact, expected with a VIP or something like this. So that jet was owned by SkyWest Aviation. That makes me think it's an aviation company that's registered in Arizona. So none of that's surprising, and I would find everything they did there illegal. And furthermore, because it says hidden by request or not available by request, it means that they were actually transmitting, and there is a unpublic record of that jet travel, time, flight, etc. My personal thought, it was probably Charlie Kirk's family going to Scottsdale or something like that, just seeing how his body was flown to Arizona. And again, just condolences for Charlie Kirk, his family. He's encouraged me and inspired me to have courage to speak, even though I often feel like what I have to say may not be of value. I realize, especially through people like Charlie Kirk, that standing up for what I believe in, voicing it, is really, the Bible says that we're saved by the word of our testimony. It's us discussing what we believe and being willing to talk about it in the public square that really truly brings about freedom. And I appreciate Mr. Kirk for that so much. And if you do not believe what he believed, it is still just as important, and you should see him as a champion of your ability to discuss, especially controversial issues in the public square. Look, if there was no controversy, it wouldn't be important enough to discuss. And because there's controversy, because there's friction there, it means that that is the point of friction, quite literally. But that's the deciding line, right? Like that's sort of the battle line. And really, what it is that is meaningful. That lets you know what's meaningful. And so I hope that all of you are encouraged to speak, to discuss, to have a testimony, which is simply your word, your understanding, your past, and a deciphering of that on values. And so I hope that that helps you build as well, as I know it will. So appreciate your time. Look, it means a whole lot that you spend this time with me, that you would hear me out to this point. And it does, it really is just makes it worthwhile for me to see that people are getting something out of the video, something out of the content. So if you subscribe and like or comment in there, let me know what you think about this. That really makes it meaningful for me, and I promise I'll get back to you in there. Thank you, and we'll see you on another Daily Note.